Cassie Galvan.
Hi.
Cassie, what is your literary journey?
Well, I started writing at a very young age in second grade. I remember my first poem was about my mom and my brother, and it was real cheesy and it rhymed. But that's when I began to develop that rhyming scheme and words, and I just continued to do that. And there was really nothing for small children, like workshops or anything like that. So I just continued being an amateur and just writing until I got a little older, and I was 13 years old when I found out that the city was putting together like a workshop. It was called Drop In on the Arts, and that's when I signed up for it, and I met Isela, and it was funny because only 2 people signed up for that workshop, but she still taught it, which I'm glad, because I would have never met her and found my voice and how to project myself better. And she gave me my first journal, which was really cool, and I did a poetry reading, and from then on I kind of just started blossoming, and I started high school, and I started to intern at PaPaGaYo, and then I graduated, and I got a place in Chrysalis, but before that I was in my high school literary journal, which was called Lapsus Calami. And so I've had that background with being editor, and I just continued to grow, and at EPCC is where I really shined, because she introduced me, her and Richard Yanis introduced me to a lot of famous writers, and I would help with literary events and readings. And then I transferred and went to UTEP, and my major is creative writing, and so there is when I met wonderful teachers and writers that also helped me with developing a sense of line and concrete images. And a lot of my writings were very dark because I was just going through a lot. I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was really young, so a lot of my writing had to do with that until I had an experience, a religious experience, and I became a Christian, and then my writing started just evolving into hope now. So my writings, I feel, aren't really like emptiness anymore and just meaningless pain. Now it has to do with hope and my faith and all of that. So that's where my journey has led me to.
You do a lot of journaling now, so maybe a sense of your journey through journaling. It sounds like a lot of your writing is coming from that. Do you ever revisit those many journals that you have kept?
Actually, I threw them all away.
Oh, wow.
It took me a long time to get to that point where I just don't want to read them anymore, because it just came from a deep pain that I experienced. So I healed from actually throwing them away, and I started new journaling, and so those are the ones that I keep. So I started about 4 years ago with new journals.
How has El Paso brought you to your opinion of your writing? Has El Paso influenced you in any way about your journaling, about your writing, about your lifestyle?
Actually, no. Like, you wouldn't think I was from here if you read my journals. But I do write a lot about the area where I grew up in my childhood. I think that's the only El Paso influence that I get. But other than that, it's not really like cliche. I don't really write about the desert a lot or anything like that. Just about my home and my childhood.
Who would be your influences in your writing, and what is it that you like to read? Or who do you like to read?
Well, I really got into young adult novels. I love poetry from anyone. I first started out reading, E.E. Cummings, Emily Dickinson, Charles Emmett, Robert Frost, and then I just moved into more, modern people like Cheryl Luna and stuff like that. And so now I read a lot of devotionals, like I said, and I get a lot of inspiration from that. Like my favorite is Sarah Young.
What would you say your genre of writing is right now, as opposed to the past?
Before, I was very dark and depressing, and now I don't know if there's a genre for it. I guess Christian? I don't know. because a lot of my influences are from spiritual point of view, and the struggle, but also hope.
And what would you say is your, I guess, type of writing that you really define yourself as being a? Are you a writer first? Are you a poet? Are you a journal? What do you say is the best expressive way? What is your best way of expressing yourself through writing?
I think poetry, but I also write nonfiction and journaling, just free writing. But I guess overall, I'm a poet at heart.